Okay, so now we are going to review the pump on PCA settings. So I just turned the pump on, and as you heard, there was the 6 beeps that you could hear before the pump was ready. So now, in our example, we will be showing a PCA pump that came to us, was pre-programmed with the doctor's orders, and it's come to us from Bayshore. So I can see here that it's set for PCA. The reservoir volume is 100, and it's stopped, and it's on battery power. So first things first, we're going to review what the actual settings are, because right now, normally this would say what kind of medication it is, but because this is a practice model, it doesn't. So let's go to tasks, and then we're going to view delivery settings. And then we can see here, okay, so this is a PCA. It's set for hydromorphone, which is 2 milligrams per milliliter. So let's take that and compare it to my doctor's orders, which is for PCA hydromorphone, the concentration 2 milligrams per milliliter in a 100 milliliter bag via subcutaneous infusion. The doctor's written the continuous rate, the PCA dose, PCA lockout, and the max dose per hours. When you're double checking your doctor's orders with this, you're doing this with another nurse because you have to be co-signing it. So let's see, the continuous rate is, yes, that's correct. So the continuous rate is 0.2 milligrams per hour. So I'm going to save that. The PCA dose is 0.6. Just going to save it. The lockout is 30 minutes. So I've used the buttons to move up and down, okay? And then when I'm highlighted on something that I want to view, like max doses per hour, then I select it. And that's limited by the delivery settings, which is, it's obviously 2 because the lockout's 30 minutes. So you can only press it twice in 1 hour. Okay, like 30 plus 30 is 60 minutes. Okay, so let's attach our tubing, and then we will start with the pump. So I'm gonna open the latch. I've got my tubing here. I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't have a knot in it and that it's clamped. Oop. Okay, so it's clamped. The bag's already been spiked, so this would be labeled properly, but it would be hydromorphone in the same concentration. Can remove the blue clip, that's garbage. And then remember, you want to line up your hooks with these hooky-doos. Okay, so it clicks, and then I'm just gonna press down on the surface to make sure that it's really in there, and then I'm gonna close the latch and lock it. So it's asking me now, do I want to prime the tubing? Okay, so I've inputted the code, and now it's going to say open clamps. And open clamps disconnect tubing from the patient, right? We're never going to be priming something that is connected to a patient. So I'm going to just click prime, and it's going to prime through the tubing. I can see that it's already filling up the end because this was already pre-primed. So I'm going to click stop priming. And then you'll notice the total volume from the 100 milliliter bag has decreased because it's in the tube, okay? That's what I was gonna do, sorry. I'm gonna just prime my subcutaneous line. So this person has a Clio that's been inserted. So that's the subcutaneous Clio, and this is the line that we're going to attach to the client. Remember, we have to prime this line too with the same medication. So let's prime this. And again, this is not attached to my patient, right? So let's continue priming, yes, because we need to prime it through this tube here, because we would never flush a subcutaneous line. Okay, so I stopped. That didn't take very long. Okay, and now I'm going to, before I start it, I can attach it to the patient's subcutaneous line here. Sorry. There we go. Okay, and when I'm doing that, remember, I'm doing a double check of the patient's name and birthday. They're telling me their name and their birthday, so I can do my 2 patient identifiers. I'm looking at their subcutaneous site. I'm making sure that it looks okay. It's not swollen. It's not painful. You know, and that it's intact. And make sure that this is changed. Remember, this needs to be changed every 7 days or as needed. So let's go back to the pump. So, okay, cassette is not locked. So that's when we need our CADD pump key. Because we're using our narcotic, we have to have the key. These keys are on your narcotic keys that are in the cupboard already. There's about 3 of them, I think. So you just put it on the side here, and then I'm going to twist to the lock, and then it allows me to move forward. So we have to review again the pump settings because we're being very careful here with this high alert medication. Okay, so we're double checking again. Yes, 0.2, and notice the check marks, okay? 0.6, 30, and 2. The reservoir volume, yes. And so now we can hit next. So we've reviewed all that. We've done that with another nurse. And so now it says, can we start pump? Okay, so let's see. We've got the medication. We're not clamped. We're attached to the patient. Everything looks good. And so we can press yes. So you'll notice everything's turned green now, and it is running. It's very, very slow, so you won't probably hear it. For us at Casey House, a nurse or a family member can press the PCA dose button on behalf of a palliative patient if that palliative patient is very close to end of life and is unable to push the button themselves. Nurses, you must use your clinical judgment here, and you need to teach the family and give them the proper education on when and how to use the button. So the screen went blank again after 30 seconds, but it's still running. It's just saving battery. I can press any button to get the screen back except for that. So my client wants a dose, so I'm going to click PCA dose, and you'll see that the dose is starting. I could stop it if that's a mistake, and I can just press OK, or it will go back. So let's see. So that's done. That's given another dose. Let me press it again. So notice the PCA dose is not available, and we're locked out because it is set for every 30 minutes. So I can press this as many times as I want in the next 30 minutes, and nothing's going to happen because it's set for every 30 minutes. Once my 30 minutes is up, I'll be able to give myself another dose. So lastly, we need to review what we do at change of shift, because we need to account for their narcotic use. So what we're going to do is at end of shift, so anytime there's a shift change, so usually 7 and 7, but if I'm working 7 to 3, the nurse is coming on, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to review our paper. So this is just kind of an example, but we have these in the room with the client, and we want to go and review what has happened in the past day. Okay, so let's go down here again. Sorry, I should be slower. We press tasks. We're going to use the arrow button to move down, and to view reports, I'm going to highlight that and click select. The first one is the one I want, given and PCA dose counters. Okay, so now we can see the total given has been 0.6, because remember I pressed the PCA button. So the 0.6 has been given. And then when you go down, my PCA doses given was 1, which is the 0.6 above. And then my attempted was 5, because remember I kept pressing the button, but it wasn't working. So we would write down total given, 0.6. Our total doses of PCA given would be 1. And the PCA attempts would be 5. I would be doing this with another nurse. We're co-signing. So the nurse that's coming on shift would be doing this with me. Now, once you've done that and written on the paper, you have to clear the doses. So total given, and I'm going to press clear given. Notice that it goes to 0 and the time has changed. I'm going to go down to that, PCA doses given, clear doses, And notice again, they went down to 0. Even if the person hasn't used the PCA pump and it's all 0, I still want you to clear it because it changes the time. And so we need to do that so that the pharmacy can see, you know, how much of the medication has been used during that certain period of time. And notice I was able to do all of that, view my reports while this was still running. I didn't have to disrupt the patient's medication to review the reports, which I think is really important. So next thing we're going to look at is changing the order. Okay, so we're running our PCA infusion. And let's say we noticed, oh, you know what? The patient's been using their PCA a lot. Like every time they could use it, they did it. I think this patient needs an increase in their order. So the doctor, we're going to talk to the doctor and advocate for our patient to have better pain management. And the doctor is going to write us a new order. I just want to show you one more thing too as well. Like now the screen went blank because it's saving battery, but I know it's still running because my green indicator light is still flashing. Okay, so again, you can press any button to get back to the screen. And then my new order, it's a little bit messy, but you would be doing this with another nurse again, right? We're going to increase it. So let's go back to tasks, view delivery settings, select, and the continuous rate is going to change. So I'm going to be increasing it. I may have to stop it, but I can't remember. Okay, so I do have to stop it for this moment while we change the settings. So I just press stop start, stop pump, yes. And you'll notice the red pump is stopping. Okay, so the continuous rate, the doctor has increased it to 0.4 milligrams per hour. And I'm double checking this with another nurse, remember? And I'm making sure there's an order for it. So 0.4 milligrams per hour for the continuous rate, yes. The PCA dose, the doctor has increased to 0.8 milligrams. So each time the patient presses this button, they're going to get 0.8 milligrams of hydromorphone. And the PCA lockout, the time has decreased to 15 minutes. So now the max doses per hour isn't 2, it's 4, right? So I can do 15 minutes 4 times in 1 hour, right? So we can increase that. But make sure you're double checking this with your doctor's orders, okay? And so now we're going to go back. And then once we restart it, it's going to make us review those settings again. So review pump settings. When I press start stop, it's making me, so I'm going to accept those so I get my green check marks. And now I can start my pump over. Okay, so that's how you might be using this pump in the real world, because we do have to change things sometimes. Most things are pre-programmed, but there are times when we're going to have to change things. So when that happens, just make sure you ask someone if you don't remember how, or ask me. And then also remember to have your key, because right now, notice I can't take anything, right? I'm not going to be able to steal my hydromorphone because it's locked in. So remember, you have to have your key to be able to open this, and if you're going to be changing your tubing, which we do every 24 hours. Okay, so I think that's it for the PCA pump. Thank you for listening.